children to kind of draw their community, and this is what the child drew. They didn't ask the child to draw violence. They said, draw your community, and the child drew this. So people holding up the of war, and then guns on the street, yeah, while children were playing. Okay. Questions? No. Let's move on. Photo elicitation, example 1. Another example is visual ethnography. How many people here have heard the term ethnography? Yes, several people, yes. Immersion into a culture to learn the cultures or the people's customs, behaviors, traits, and so on, right? And it's usually an extended amount of time. That's the important aspect of it. Ethnography, this is not just a weekend. This is several weekends over a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or 25 years, right? In this case. So from this was the study of the Dogon people over a 25-year period, and they looked at several cultural customs, in particular some of the dances, and what they began to discover that there was a certain type of movement, and they finally gained the trust after about 10, 15 years of observation of what they were dancing. What they found was that this group of people's dance movements actually reflected a system in the star system, Sirius, that we weren't even aware of yet at the time. Right? So once we knew what they were actually dancing, once we started, and then we figured out where we could look, we saw the identical pattern of the dance match the actual how the constellation moved out in the stars. So it was interesting. It's called The Pale Fox. That was the book by these two French anthropologists who spent all that period of time. But again, some of the ways in which data collection could happen with visual ethnography does not have to be 25 years. I just don't want to scare people. It's not a 25-year dissertation. Just you can do. You can actually have visual data collection done through photography or videotape observations, videotape interviews, visually prompted questionnaires, so on. So that's visual ethnography. So with your immersion, you're using visual either aids, equipment, or materials. Any questions? All right. Visual analysis. Number 3, there's 2 types of visual analysis. The first one, this is from my dissertation study where I analyzed several scores of lynching photography just to look for evidence of leisure behavior. Right? And so here there's different types of analysis that can take place. There's one content analysis where you categorize and interpret the basic elements, like how many people, time of day. Semiotic analysis is where you start looking at the use of language associated with the image or on the image. So in this case, this postcard had a front and back, and on the back it was written. And everybody can see what was written. Can you see it? All right, this is the barbecue that we had last night. My picture is to the left with the cross over it, your son Joe. So this is what the cross was. So this is the postcard that was sent. So you begin to discuss what does this mean. So one, they put this entire lynch into a category of the event. All right. Psychoanalytic analysis, then you would discuss the image and the value that was assigned by the person who took the picture or the person that's pictured in it. So you look for a meaning. Right? And then discourse analysis, you're looking at incorporating any other sources that may be associated with the image that's depicted. Questions on visual analysis?
What do you mean by other sources?
Other sources, well, in this case, it could be a trial. And so you may have trial proceedings from that time period, so then you can match up the trial proceedings with what's depicted in the image to either determine time of day or other discussions, people's comments, commentary. Yeah. Or maybe there's another photo somewhere else, right? That's from another angle. Or in this case, this image in particular has been falsely labeled with the wrong victim, wrong year, wrong date, and so be able to then also have that discussion. Does that help? Mm-hmm. So that's what discourse analysis. another type of visual analysis, analyzing, in this case, this was from analyzing Native American travel postcards that were used, and looking for evidence of either the exploitation or cultural evolution. People were getting rid of their culture or abandoning their traditional culture. So this is from Alpha Tourism Research, and this is what they were looking at. Just, I guess, to show you some ways. So, you have an image that's contained, right? And so, how you would start to, for example, with content analysis, you would first start to draw a plane. So right here in the middle is usually where we first look at the image. Our attention is always drawn to the middle, right? When we look at the image first, we're never looking at the corner first. We always are drawn to the middle. So whatever's in the middle is the intended, that's the focus of the image. So then we automatically know there's a weight assigned by the photographer on what's contained in the image. Then we can then look at other things, lighting, people, number of people, where the people are at, what are people's relationship to one another, and so on. But these are just some of the ways in which you would begin the process of analyzing each image. And then fourth, anybody's going to have an opportunity to go to the organization formerly known as SPRI. Places sound like Prince, one artist formerly known as the organization that has a teaching institute. So this is what this fourth area is the area that I'm going to be talking about there. But those of you who are not going to be there, I'm just going to explain it further. This is an area of research called Video Action Research and Pedagogy. Fortunately, I was able to be in a lot of classes with the creator of Video Action Research. We were all peers in the same classes at Illinois, so I was able to see what she developed and so on. So we partnered up to look at a number of different things, one of which was the rebuilding process in New Orleans. So the whole idea of VARP is to sort of make a critical analysis of something based upon what is visually displayed. Oftentimes this may mean that we are forming a partnership with those who are appearing in the video, so they're no longer a respondent. Right? But this, well, it's called research and pedagogy because this also can be applied into the classroom. Right? So one person actually was in a class that they did this. So even though she didn't know that's what they were doing. But 4 stages of VARP are as follows, whether it's used as pedagogy or as research. 1, pre-production, where you introduce an area of reflection and decision-making in terms of what you're going to actually videotape. What are you going to film? Why are you going to film it? You answer these particular questions. Who is your primary audience at the conclusion of the completed video? Production, so actually develop a sort of outline of the image and what would you sort of capture in each scene, right? And why are you capturing these scenes? And then post-production is then trying to understand the impact. So where would you present this and for what reason? And then, it's not 4, it's actually and then the last one is distribution and presentation, and then where are you going to disseminate it? And so we have a few minutes to look at one clip from a student just last semester. What is on here?
I have to enable content, I think. Go back up in the,
Yeah.
below the header.
The header on the
Put it back
PowerPoint.
up.
What, this one?
The PowerPoint.
Yeah.
Did you hit it? Right.
Go to the PowerPoint.
No, it was on
Yeah,
the
go
other,
to
it was
the
on the
PowerPoint.
other.
You go to the
Go to the
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint slide. Now maybe it's going to show anyway.
Here it goes. So this is, just very briefly, but I want to watch it because I hate the music. But this was their look at shopping, all right? So they conducted a study on shopping.